So today we're going to start with 2.1, which is the identity and zero properties.
Identity property of addition. Adding zeros does not change the value of a number.
So we learned last topic that algebraic has letters and numbers. So on the left it says here, any number plus zero is itself. Same over here. Any variable plus zero will be that variable.
Adding zero does not change the value of a number.
Identity property of multiplication.
So
Multiplying by 1 does not change the value of a number.
I remember identity property, what we're learning about today, as you're trying to keep it the same. You're not changing your identity. So any number plus zero, so addition, plus zero will keep your identity the same. Any number multiplied by 1 will keep your number the same. Any variable multiplied by 1 will keep it the same. Let's look at the zero property of multiplication.
Zero property of multiplication. The zero property of multiplication works the same for algebraic expressions.
So
Multiplying by 0 results in a product of 0 every time.
any number times 0 is 0. Any variable times 0 is 0. Okay, so identity property of addition is trying to keep it the same. So we add 0 to anything, it'll keep it the same. Identity property of multiplication, any number times 1 is itself. The zero property of multiplication says anything times 0 is 0.
Drag each statement to the property it represents.
So for this one, a times 1. Well, any number times 1 is itself. That is identity property of multiplication. Any number times 1 is identity property of multiplication. Any number or variable times 1 is itself identity property of multiplication. Any number times 0 is 0. That was the zero property of multiplication. Any number times 0 is 0, zero property of multiplication. Any number plus 0 is identity property of addition. Any number times 0, multiply. 0 plus 0 is, 1 plus 0 is 1. That's identity property of addition. 0 plus 1 is 1. That is also identity property of addition. Go ahead and pause the screen and go ahead and fill these out in your notes. Pause the screen.
Which statements illustrate the identity property of addition?
So they want
0
the
plus
identity
x
property of
equals
addition.
X plus y plus 0 equals x plus y. 0 plus 5 is 5.
Go ahead and freeze your screen and fill out which of these you think is correct. They want the identity property of addition. Go and freeze your screen. The correct answer should be the identity property of addition states that adding 0 does not change the value of a number. So all three statements illustrate the identity property of addition. So go ahead and circle all three. Let's move on to part 2.
At a carnival, you earn 1 point for each balloon you pop with a dart. You pop B balloons. Write 2 equivalent algebraic expressions that show how many points you earned.
So you earn 1 point for each balloon you pop. Well, that means 1 point per balloon. We talked last chapter about how per can sometimes show us what we need to be looking for. So 1 point for each balloon. Well, if I pop 1 balloon, that means I get 1 point. If I pop 2 balloons, that means that I get 2 points. 3 balloons, I get 3 points. 4 balloons, I multiply by 1, I get 4 points. So each time I'm just multiplying by the number itself. So what happens if I get B? Well, I know that B times 1 would give me my answer, or 1 times B. You get 1 point per balloon. You pop B balloons. Multiply the number of points per balloon by the number of balloons. So they get 1 times B. Multiply the number of balloons by the number of points per balloon. Both expressions equal B points. Go and fill that out.
Which statements illustrate the identity property of multiplication?
So go ahead and fill this out. Which one do you think illustrates the identity property, that's key, of multiplication? We want the number to stay the same.
Anthony Curry, please come to the main office. Anthony Curry.
Here are your choices. Okay, the correct answer should be 2 and 3 because we're multiplying by 1. This one is not correct because it's multiplying by 0, which is the 0 property of multiplication. On to part 3, or question 3.
What property or properties are illustrated by the statement 0 times 1 equals 0?
This is an interesting situation. Multiplying by 0 always gives a certain answer. On the other hand, multiplying by 1 always has a certain result too.
So here are some answer choices. Go ahead and read through these and think to yourself which one is correct. Go ahead and freeze your screen and think about it. The correct answer, boys and girls, should be the identity property of multiplication states 1 times any number is that number. So 0 times 1 is 0. The 0 property of multiplication states that 0 times any number is 0. So 0 times 1 is 0. Both properties are actually illustrated here. So go ahead and write that. Both properties are illustrated here. On to part 3.
Hockey teams earn 3 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, and 1 point for a tie. Use the expression below to find the total number of points Team A has earned. Name the properties you use to simplify the expression. 3 times W plus 0 times L plus 1 times T. Write the algebraic expression. The expression can be found in the problem statement. Substitute the values from the Team A row into the expression. Multiply the expressions within parentheses. 3 times 6 is 18. Use the 0 property of multiplication to multiply 0 by 2. 0 times 2 is 0. Use the identity property of multiplication to multiply 1 by 4. 1 times 4 is 4. Now add the products. Use the identity property of addition add 18 and 0. 18 plus 0 is 18. 18 plus 4 is 22. Team A has earned 22 points.
So for this one, all you're doing is you're taking Team A, you're plugging 6 in for W, 2 in for L, and 4 in for T, and solving using PEMDAS. Go and write that down.
Hockey teams earn 3 points for a win, 0 points for a loss, and 1 point for a tie. Use the expression below to find the total number of points Team B has earned. Which part of the expression below would you simplify using the zero property of multiplication?
So remember, the zero property of multiplication states what? Well, if you look back in your note, it's going to tell you the zero property of multiplication states any number times 0 is 0. So which part of this are we multiplying by 0? Well, we're definitely multiplying this part by 0. And by plugging 7 in here, and we're plugging 5 in for L, and 0 in for T, is there another part that we're multiplying by 0? Well, yeah, because when we put 0 in for T here, this is also going to be the zero property of multiplication. So there are two parts of the problem that will use the zero property of multiplication. Last problem.
Team A earned 22 points, and Team B earned 21 points. Which team has more points?
Which team is in first place? It all depends on how wins, losses, and ties are used to determine rankings.
Team A earned 22 points, and Team B earned 21 points. Which team has more points? Is that the team with the better record? Explain.
Go ahead and solve this problem on your own. Explain your work in 2 to 3 sentences, and then you will be done with your notes for 2-1.